Hi, welcome back to Brown Girl Blue. My name is Tabitha, and on this channel, I talk about my childhood memories growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. One of the many things that I encountered is failing at perfection. Growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, there was this expectation of being perfect. Perfect on this imperfect world, as they would phrase it. Being a perfect daughter, being a perfect witness, being a perfect whatever you can think of, being perfect at that. The amount of pressure to never fail is not sustainable. I just had so much fear of messing up, not being allowed to make mistakes freely, and if you did, there was a high price to pay. You know, part of becoming a human being in this world is learning from your mistakes and to be judged for making mistakes and always having the pressure to be perfect at everything, to be perfect Jehovah's Witness, to be perfect in all the things are expected of you. Oh my goodness, the pressure was was really high. And that for a young person is causes a lot of problems. He said it did for me. You know, a lot of extreme anxiety, fear of failure, like a irrational fear of failure, some just some sadness of not meeting the mark, whatever those marks were, and just having to always having to feel that I did not have the option to make a mistake. And if I did, well, there was always someone who was ready to pass judgment upon me or to give me counsel to how not to make those mistakes. Something as simple as missing a Jehovah's Witness meeting, or not getting enough hours in a field service, or not answering questions perfectly at those Bible study meetings. It's just perfection in every part of your life. Or when you're in school, making sure that you're the best examples of what a Jehovah's Witness should be. Like, we're setting the standard of human behavior, being perfect in every element of your life. And I don't think that's what life is about. It's not about being perfect. It's about learning along your way and doing the best that you can, and being able to help others as you can, and just, giving what you can back to the world. It's not about having this perfect report card of your interactions with your community, with your world. But that definitely was the understanding that I was given when I was being raised in that culture. It was just so much pressure, just too much pressure. And how that impacted my development is being afraid to fail. And that's a recipe for failures, when you're afraid to fail. Because from failures you learn things, you learn lessons, you learn new information, you learn how to do a particular thing better. There's benefit to failure as part of life. And to be afraid of that, well, it kind of stops you in your tracks to where you feel like you can't progress. And that was a great bit of my early adulthood, is being afraid to do anything, being afraid to to just go out and capture life, just being very cautious. And in some cautious, okay, it's okay. It's good to have discernment for your own safety. But what I'm referring to is just being afraid of living, and just being afraid of, doing anything. And that was part of that culture that I was raised in, of, just don't make any mistakes, and just try to live this perfect life on this world. And yeah, so how I was able to, help myself kind of overcome that is by just going for it. And it's scary. It's extremely scary. Even now, I know it's a natural human reaction when you try new things, or you elicit, or you try to put any change in your life that makes you a little bit uneasy, at least for most people. But still, you have to do it in spite of your fear. and just go for whatever is that thing that you want to do. I find it's helpful to write down my goals. So if I have something that I want to do or something I want to achieve, it helps my brain realize that it's something that I'm committed to doing if I take the time to actually write it down, whatever that thing could be, having a habit of writing it down. And also just being around people who kind of have that same type of perspective of just having goals and not being afraid to do things. It does take time. It's a process when you have been raised in that kind of environment of always being afraid of failing and striving for that perfection and seeing failure as being defeated and not learning from those time periods that you can go off and do something better. So that pressure to be perfect, it failed, and I wasn't able to sustain it. But boy, did it have an impact on my life, as far as causing me to have fear of trying new things, being afraid of making friends, being afraid to go out and do some fun activity. It's living in that constant state of fear, and I know that I was not put on this earth to be living in fear. So yeah, that was a really stressful period of my life. It did take time for me to come out of that, and I'm still on the journey. As I said, I am not perfect. I am still learning. This is going to be a continuous process for the remainder of my life. But you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because sometimes I do really great, and sometimes I don't. And the times that I don't, I learn from those lessons. I look back and say, okay, what did I learn? What can I learn from this? How can I enact this to make a better decision or have a better action next time? And that's all part of the human story. Learning from your failures and learning from mistakes and committing to be better the next time. And also most times at a failure, you have great ideas that come out of that. So letting go of looking at that fear or letting go of that fear and realizing where that's coming from. There is some natural things you should be afraid of for your own safety. But as far as life, one should not be afraid of living life. And that's what I learned growing up as a child in that environment, was to be afraid of living life. And to some regards, I still do have that fear in certain aspects. And part of it is identifying its source, knowing where it's from, but also making the decision to not stay in that fear, but to take the next step forward. And I am taking the next step forward. And that's part of my life now. So do you have any moments, do you have any experiences that you've had of you were told that you had to be a perfect witness and you had to live a perfect life in this imperfect world? And if you did, please share those comments below. I would really like to see what your perspective was. It's okay. We're all going to be all right. It just takes one step at a time and a little bit of commitment to want to have that change that you want in your life. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching Brown Girl Blue, and I'll see you next time.